Coming up on the Good Morning Show, Blueprint raising concerns. A look at the dollars and cents behind some of Tallahassee's biggest infrastructure projects.
Plus, Georgia's 2026 Senate race is shaping up to be the most competitive and expensive race in the country. We'll take a look at who's running so far.
Trusted, local. The WCTV Good Morning Show starts now.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Good Morning Show. Rob, yesterday, a lot better than all that stuff we saw this weekend, right? I mean, my pups were enjoying a little bit of the breeze that we had yesterday evening. Yeah.
The showers helped, right? A couple of showers came and we got a little cool down, got a little breeze. I think there's still a few lingering showers to deal with today, and then we're turning up the heat. Turning up the heat maybe quite a bit over the next few days. So get ready for a very May or even June kind of feel coming our way with daytime highs that should have very little trouble getting up over 90 a little bit later on this week. Hopefully we don't get there today or maybe not even tomorrow. But I think by Thursday and Friday, those front numbers are going to start with a 9. Right now, the front numbers start with a 6. Since we're seeing some temperature slide back into the 60s, the air is trying to dry out at least a little tiny bit. And that should continue over the next few days. And that's part of the reason why we're going to see things heat up a little bit. Drier air, it does heat up a little bit faster in the afternoons. And I think that's the way we're going to be trending. Today, we'll probably top out someplace in the middle, maybe the upper 80s, depending on who's lucky enough to get those last couple of showers. And there still will be some today, but it's not going to be an everybody gets wet kind of thing. Many of us will never see a single raindrop today, but a few spots will still spiral a couple of showers through the area, and as they move into the region, of course, we'll be tracking them and updating and letting you know where they are. Right now, it's 64 at Bainbridge, Quincy, Tallahassee, Liberty County, Perry, Live Oak, all at 63. Valdosta, we're at 63. There's that 61 in Thomasville, a little warmer in Madison, where it's 66. I see some spots like Live Oak where the visibility is down to just 1/4 mile. In Valdosta, just 2 miles. So we've got some fog out there in a couple of locations. I don't see a lot of showers, but maybe a few over towards Gulf and Bay counties, and some of those will try to pinwheel their way through our area. That big upper level low is still up there to our north, but it's starting to move away, and it's going to continue moving away. That will allow higher pressure to our south and west to really assert itself over the next couple of days, and as that becomes our big weather player, I think fewer showers, more sunshine, and those hotter conditions. Futurecast trying to bring at least a couple of showers through the area, maybe later this morning, and maybe still a few to get wrung out of the clouds this afternoon. I don't think this is going to be a rainy and wet day, but I do think a few showers are still in the mix. We'll start to notice a little bit more sunshine, and we are going to start changing those temperatures over the next few days. We'll get to that full forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Continuing coverage in Tallahassee, FAMU's interim president, Dr. Timothy Beard, is weighing in on the search for a new university president. In a video statement, he thanks the community for his time as university leader, promised a smooth transition, and a reference to the finalist visits to the campus this week.
It is our expectation that a healthy civil dialogue would take place between the candidates and the Board of Trustees and our internal and external stakeholders over the next few days.
FAMU's search has faced significant pushback and skepticism of the community. The Board of Trustees debated pausing the search last month, but voted 8-5 to keep it going. Leon County Commissioner Bill Proctor are calling for the 8 trustees to resign, claiming the search has become political. Florida's Board of Governors is also reviewing the search process with concerns that some names were leaked. However, they did not call for a pause while they investigate.
Now, as this search enters its final phase, FAMU trustee Ernie Ellison is resigning. Ellison was appointed to the university's board earlier this year. His appointment had to be confirmed by the Florida Senate, but we're told that the Senate didn't take any action on that vote. Ellison was one of the first to propose the board suspend the presidential search during last month's Board of Trustees meeting, sparking a lengthy debate and the final 8-5 vote.
Staying in Leon County, some elected officials are raising alarms at the rising cost of public projects that you help pay for. So everyone living in Leon County and visitors pay a 1-cent sales tax to fund Blueprint projects. Behind the Canopy neighborhood, construction continues on a nearly $200 million Blueprint project. But local lawmakers say they did not approve a big chunk of that spending. County Commissioner David O'Keefe released his own calculations showing Blueprint projects costs are up 58% since 2020. That includes a $64 million increase in the Wilani Boulevard project and a $15 million bump for the Airport Gateway project just in the last 8 months. O'Keefe and other commissioners question why those increases weren't brought back for their approval.
What triggered me to say, wait a minute, if a CPA and a commissioner can't even get this information easily, how are the rest of the commissioners and the public supposed to see what we're doing with their tax dollars?
We asked Blueprint staff for an interview so we could ask why costs have skyrocketed. They declined to comment, but they did cite inflation and rising construction costs as reasons.
At the Georgia Capitol, the 2026 Senate race is shaping up to be one of the most competitive and expensive races in the country. Yeah,
yesterday, Insurance Commissioner John King announced his campaign, and as Abby Casoris explains, he's now the second Republican looking for support to unseat Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff.
Republicans trying desperately to hold on to the majority in the U.S. Senate. Democrat Senator Jon Ossoff now facing mounting opposition as he works to hold on to his seat in 2026.
What's going on, brother?
After launching his campaign on Monday, Insurance Commissioner John King started making fundraising calls, starting with his fellow Army soldiers. King, a retired National Guard general, former Doraville police chief, and the first statewide Hispanic elected officer. King says his military background makes him the best choice.
There ought to be somebody in that chamber that understands the consequences, that when we put our young men and women in danger, that we need to be able to come back and look at their parents and look them in the eye and says, I thought hard about this, that we're spending your tax dollars on something that's worthy of your sacrifice.
The first Republican to enter the race, Representative Buddy Carter, representing coastal Georgia, a pharmacist often advocating for lower prescription drug costs.
I was the one who saw the mother in tears as she tried to figure out how she was going to pay for the antibiotic for her child. I set out to do something about that, and I have done that since I've been up here. I've worked tirelessly to improve health care in the state of Georgia.
Carter's campaign ad attacking Ossoff for his stance on border regulations and voting against a ban on trans athletes competing in girls' sports.
You know, look, I'm running on my record, and I have a very conservative record.
Both Carter and King branding themselves MAGA warriors. King co-chaired President Donald Trump's 2020 Georgia campaign and says he's talked with his team about the potential of an endorsement.
Now I have to show through performance. And they're not going to, they're going to support who they think has the best pathway to this. I have to earn it.
Senator Ossoff's team sent us this statement saying Senator Ossoff will defeat any challenger. While the GOP primary field scrambles to outmaneuver each other and audition for Donald Trump's support, Senator Ossoff's campaign is already building the most effective and unstoppable turnout effort in Georgia's history. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casoris.
And staying in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp was back under the Gold Dome to sign legislation that his office says will bring top talent to the state. Governor Kemp signing 4 bills into law. One expands the Georgia Match program. It helps simplify and streamline the college admissions process for high school seniors. The goal is to reach students who weren't considering going to college. Governor Kemp says these students can give the state better qualified workforce by continuing their education.
In national news, President Trump's trade war is finally easing, but it will still impact American families. According to research published, tariffs will still cost the average middle-class family more than $2,200 per year. Large price increases are still expected over the short run, including 14% increases for items like clothing and electronics.
House Republicans unveiling their long-awaited tax plan yesterday. It includes some of President Trump's campaign promises, like scrapping federal taxes on tips, overtime pay, and car loan interest. Congressional Republican leaders say they want to deliver their budget bill to the president's desk by July 4th.
Today, President Trump is in Saudi Arabia to kick off his 4-day visit to the Middle East.
Yeah, so soon the president will meet with members of the royal family and participate in an investment summit with top business leaders. CBS's Naomi Ruckham has more.
Today, President Donald Trump meets with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh. The main focus, business investment. Later, President Trump also attends an investment summit with executives expected from several major companies, including Nvidia, Citigroup, and Uber. The president will also visit Qatar and the United Arab Emirates this week.
Thank you very much.
Ahead of the trip, the president doubled down on defending plans to possibly use a luxury jet donated by Qatar, calling it a gift to the Defense Department.
I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture.
President Trump also hinted that he might take a detour to Turkey if Ukrainian and Russian officials move forward with high-stakes peace talks there on Thursday.
I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it.
Those comments made as the president signed an executive order setting a 30-day deadline for drug companies to lower their prices to levels similar to those charged in other wealthy nations, or else they could face steep caps in Medicare payments.
Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government.
On trade, President Trump says he plans to speak to China's President Xi Jinping as soon as this week, after his administration announced a deal Monday for both to slash tariffs by 115% for the next 90 days. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Still to come on the Good Morning Show, a musical special now coming to the small screen. We have that and more in entertainment news.
All right, so our forecast over the next couple days is going to start turning up the heat. We should start bringing out more sunshine. And if you're looking for maybe one more round of showers, today may be our last best shot. I'll break it all down, that full forecast coming up.